similar subjects to the previous person. And this is on soulmates. And how do we recognize each other when we meet? And how
you either really, really love them or you really, really hate them. But in either case, it's really, really. In other words, the intensity of the relationship is the indicator of the connection. And think about it in terms of what you are hearing about the creation of anything. When you really, 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 really want something, that's when the absence of it really, 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 really bothers you. And so very often those relationships that seem to give you the most trouble are those where you have this strong intention for being who you really are, and sometimes you come together and just antagonize each other into your connection.
So how do you smooth that out and keep it going, over your life, your physical life together?
Here's the interesting thing. So let's assume that you've met someone like that, and that the relationship just won't go away. It just keeps resurfacing and rebubbling and re-aggravating. And there is a tendency to think that the person needs to be different so that you can have a different response to the person. That's the way most people approach most relationships. Most people, in looking for the perfect relationship, are trying to find someone that they mesh with well, where there is very little for me to do. The other is already aligned with that which I am. And the best way to make any relationship better, the good ones better and the not good ones better, is to align with who you are. And so we think that what happens with some of these relationships where you truly are non-physical energy that has come forth together intending this exaggerated experience is because the only thing that ever works about bringing joy to you about anything is first finding alignment with who you are. And some of these relationships really test that, because you have to find alignment with who you are, because there's no way that you can force the alignment with the other. And once you are able to find alignment with who you are, then you can have alignment with anyone, you see. And so that's why sometimes, especially those like you who are teachers of teachers of teachers of teachers, you come forth really wanting to understand how to achieve your connection with source energy. And when you think about it, it's easy to adore someone who is adorable. It's easy to love someone who's lovable, but if you have yourself surrounded by adorable, lovable people, that does not go very far in helping you to reach for your own connection. In other words, it's easy to be connected when adorable people present themselves to you, and you just look at them and you adore them, and it's easy to, but then you do what most of the world does. You need everybody to be adorable, and when they're not, then you're lost in you somehow, you see.
Right.
And so when you have someone who keeps mattering to you, who won't be adorable for the sake of you easily adoring them, and you have to work at your connection and work at your adoration, oh, what a wonderful gift they give you, because they help you to learn how to maintain your connection no matter what, and then you are free to go anywhere. When you have adorable people who are feathering your nest around you all of the time, and so you feel good when you are in your feathered nest, now you are captive to your feathered nest, because if you go out into the real world where there aren't people feathering your nest, you have no resources to maintain your connection. And then you come away feeling abused that the world doesn't treat you right, when the world is treating you exactly as you are offering the vibration, you see. Where when you've learned to feather your own nest, when you've learned to keep yourself in vibrational alignment with who you are, now you have the sea legs, now you have the shock absorbers, now you have the resiliency, now you have the ability to achieve your vibrational harmony no matter what, and now the universe has to treat you well no matter where you go. See?
I think I met a soulmate once, and we were together for a while, and it seemed like I recognized the fact that we had this connection, and she didn't. And it was a really powerful connection. We'd be in different parts of the country or the world, and phone, one of us would think of the other one, and the phone would ring, that kind of thing. And it even went on beyond after she had married someone else for many years. So I'm curious, what was going on there that she didn't really recognize it? And this is way before I ever met Abraham. So,
well, as you know, your alignment with who you are gives you that insight, and another may not. And there are a lot of, someone talked about this earlier today in talking about the two different types of relationships, thinking in terms of the relationship of that which is coming forth from non-physical, and then the relationships that are happening here in the physical environment. And so many of the relationships that you gather around you, you don't gather from your framework of first connecting to who you are, and then from that centered place, beating the drum of that connection, and then bringing others to you that are a vibrational match to that. So many people make their physical relationships based upon a list of criteria, right. And often they focus upon the list of what they want from the place of believing that they don't have it or that they can't find it. And so very often physical relationships turn out to be very different from what you really want, because you don't have access to what you want, because you've been beating the drum of the absence of what you want for so long. Let's back up and give that to you again in a way that's easier to hear. If you were letting your first priority be to be connected to who you are, which means nothing's more important than that you feel good. So you're looking for positive aspects in yourself and in others. Then you are much of the time in close vibrational alignment with who you are. Anyone who would come to you that would resonate with you on these very deep levels would be someone who is in alignment with who they are too, or close to that alignment. But so many people are not seeking relationships from that place of alignment. So many people are wanting something that they don't have and focused upon the lack of what they want. And so law of attraction brings them what they are vibrationally offering, not what they are wanting. That's always true. You get what you think about, whether you want it or not. And most people are more focused upon the absence of what they want than upon what they want. And so most people have the wrong set of vibrations going relative to relationships.
So she wouldn't recognize it, even though it was right there in her face.
Very often people are judging their relationship based upon the physical stature or the financial stature or other things that are important that they've picked up along the physical trail, but they are not listening for the way it feels.
Right.
And until you're listening for the way it feels, you could very well, in other words, it's possible for someone to be standing right in front of you who is an absolute vibrational match to who you really are, but you don't recognize it because that person is not in this moment a match to who he is, and you in this moment are not a match to who she is. And so if you're not a match to who you really are, then it's harder for you to recognize it. The optimum relationship is one where this person is working to feel good and achieving it much of the time, and this person is working to feel good and achieving it much of the time. So they're both in concert with who they are, and they are both being guided by the way they feel. So they are often in vibrational alignment with who they are. And now the physical environment and what they have lived has caused them each to offer rockets of desire. So through their own personal life experiences, they have launched rockets of their own personal preferences. In other words, you get to choose what someone looks like. You get to choose how much money they have. You get to choose what part of the world they live in. You get to choose what they are thinking about ideologically. In other words, it's natural that you would want a compatible partner on a whole lot of different subjects. And so through trial and error and through your exposure, you've been launching these rockets of desires. Both of you have. So law of attraction is aligning you up with that which you are offering in terms of your vibration. So let's say that both of you are in alignment with who you are, and both of you have launched lots of rockets. Well, every rocket that you launch goes out into your future. It's what we call pre-paving, and begins culminating. So your relationships have become in a vibrational realm even before they happen in a manifestational realm. And so your relationships are out there gelling, and as you walk through space and time toward them, when you line up with someone who is a perfect vibrational match to the dreams that you've been launching, bells and whistles go off. You know it right away. You recognize it, you see. And so what happened to you was your bells and whistles went off, you recognized it, but she had not done as much conscious pre-paving and did not recognize it. The good news is there are many, thousands really, thousands of soulmates out there rendezvoused in terms of thought, and all you have to do is line up with your own inner being and you'll be led right there.
Cool.
It is. Cooler than cool.